starting a fishing YouTube channel. My name is Angie with Angie's Fishing. I'm in my 1-year anniversary of my fishing YouTube. So on this video, I'm just going to talk about the things I have learned along the way, what I would have done differently if I knew then what I knew now, would I have started it, what I feel about my journey and where I'm at so far, the challenges I have faced. And just a little bit about my background. I grew up fishing. My parents was fishing and camping every single weekend. Some of my earliest memories was on the John boat with my dad, later on the bass boat. I was driving a bass boat 65 miles an hour down the Tennessee River by the time I was 12. So my fishing mostly consisted of a worm and bobber, a rooster tail, and a jitterbug. My Saturday mornings was spent on the couch watching Bill Dance and Jimmy Houston every Saturday morning before my cartoons came. By the time I was 16, I hated fishing. You would not catch me on the water. I completely abandoned it for many years. Fast forward, you start a family, I raised 2 boys, did fishing off and on through the years, and then, life changes. About 5 years ago, my life kind of took a different turn. My boys had grown up. I had spent the last 20 years raising 2 boys. I was mostly a stay-at-home mom. So that kind of threw me for a loop. It was kind of like pre-empty nest syndrome, I guess you could say. But at the same time, there was a lot of really bad things going on in my life. I lost my dad, and that was difficult. I had a lot of death in the family very quickly. So it led me down a time in my life that I actually really was depressed. But I'm a person of action. So I knew I needed to do something, kind of figure out who I was again, redefine who I am. So I started doing a lot of things. I joined a book club. I played pickleball. I played disc golf. And I played tennis. I was doing so many different things. And then one day I was like, I'm going to go fishing. I hadn't been fishing in many years. So I went on the bank and had a good time. And I thought, I need to get out on that water. So the very next day I got a kayak, not my first kayak. I've been on kayaks my whole life. And then went through the whole process of learning to load and unload this kayak and going fishing out on my own. That was a big thing for me because I'd never done it alone. I had to overcome a lot of anxiety, a lot of fears of getting out there and doing this by myself. So after about a month, it became second nature to me. And then I felt like awesome. And then I gained this self-confidence again. And I was like, man, I challenged myself to do this. I did it. It feels great. So at the time, I started looking up my local waterways on YouTube, and I found that there's a lot of local YouTubers in my area. So I became obsessed, and I've been watching them for years. Then I started looking up women anglers, and I was trying to find somebody who I kind of could relate to. I found nobody. There was nobody like me putting out content. I don't necessarily fit the mold. I'm not a man. I am not a young lady fishing. I found a lot of those. It's not the kind of fishing I do. I'm fully clothed. And I'm not a professional. So I did not find anybody who I related to. So the thought occurred to me, what if I started a YouTube fishing? But, to me, that was the most foreign thing. I never recorded myself doing anything. So I put that on the back burner for many years. I even got a GoPro. I tried to film several times. I couldn't talk in front of a camera. So I just left it there. Fast forward last year, my youngest son graduated high school and something just clicked. I thought, at this point, I don't care what anybody thinks. And I'm going to do what I want to do. And even if it does not work out, if I don't like it, I have to do this for myself to prove to myself that I can do this. So I started filming May of 2024, and I enjoyed it. I kept doing it. Some of my earliest videos are very short. They're very cringy, and I wanted to delete them, but I'm going to leave them. I don't watch them, but I'm going to leave them because you can go back and see, like, if you do decide to start a YouTube, or if you have a YouTube, you can go back and see how you've grown. But one of my earliest challenges was editing. I had never edited a video in my life. So I would spend hours and hours to try to make a 5 to 10 minute video. I still do, but I've cut it down a couple of hours by now. And then, of course, learning to talk in front of a camera. That's a skill that takes time. So if that's something that, you're thinking about starting a YouTube and you're having trouble talking in front of camera, editing, if it's something that you end up enjoying, you get better. Yeah, that's just all there is to it. The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. So don't let that hold you back. One of the things I would have done differently is I would have probably started lives a lot sooner. I was a good 6 months maybe into my YouTube before I started doing lives. And that was a big help in growth for me and watch hours. I will say though, even though I have quite a few lives under my belt now, it's still not something I'm 110% comfortable with. I still plan on doing lives because it's great for the channel. I really do enjoy, you know, talking live with people. Getting started, I'm just always like, oh, but you know, I do really enjoy it, and I will continue them. My goals at this point, which I never even thought of until more recently in the last few months, is being monetized. I'm getting fairly close to that first 3,000 watch hour mark, which is exciting. So how do I feel about being 1 year into my YouTube journey and where I'm at? And I have mixed feelings on that. I watch a lot of fishing YouTube channels, and I watch a lot of very successful YouTube channels, and I try not to compare my tiny channel to them, but I'm always looking to grow and learn. So I'm definitely always pulling and learning from successful fishing YouTube channels. Anybody that has found a way to make a living off of something they love, you know, props to them. No hate here. Congratulations. But it's kind of hard not to look at some channels and be like, man, they grew really fast. Or maybe that did take them a long time. You know, comparison can be something you can learn from. It's also something that, you know, if you're not careful, you're like... So I have mixed feelings about it. I think if I would have continued my lives like I would have been a lot farther along where I am now. But I'm always learning, I am growing, and I'm enjoying the journey. I love to fish. I'm out fishing all the time anyway, so I might as well go ahead and film it. You know, there's some channels that I have watched that have blew up really quickly, or not really blew up, but just grew very quickly, and I'm just kind of trying not to compare yourself, but, and then, you know, you can watch other channels and be like, well, I'm doing pretty good. So you do have to kind of guard yourself mentally, and YouTube is a lot of work. Like, I would be lying if I said I was not checking my analytics every day. And I'm always planning, where can I go next? And how am I going to fish that spot? And how am I going to make this video? Like, I'm very invested in what I'm doing. I call it my hobby. It's an expensive hobby. That I have to kind of sometimes make myself take a break from it, which I did back in April, which killed my mojo. I was really doing great until April, and I just had a lot of things going on in April, so I took that little break in April and came back just swinging and ready to go. Anyway, if you've enjoyed hearing my story, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and what motivates you to go out fishing? Do you fish a lot? Do you aspire to have a YouTube channel? Do you have one already? What keeps you going on YouTube or fishing? So thank you guys for coming along with me, and I'll see you guys on the next fishing adventure.